Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Welcome everyone to season number 20, the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series, presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. I'm Greg Ginsberg, and along with Larry Lefty McLeod, we've got all the great action here tonight for you. We've got, of course, Dennis Branch and Jonathan Grabowski. They're in the virtual production truck bringing you all the best camera angles and action that Apex Racing TV is known for, because Larry and I couldn't just do this all alone. So, you know, as our MX-5 drivers find their way back from the blue hell that is Bathurst and the challenges they faced on the mountain for rounds 2 and 3, this week they'll transition from cute little koalas to giant steel arachnids. And tonight we head to Birmingham's Dixieland Delight Barber Motorsports Park, the Alan Wilson designed 16-turn, 2.4-mile course that will certainly give our drivers a workout during their single 60-minute run to the checker this evening. So, Larry, you know, both John Allen and young Dean Dibdahl, which, by the way, he won't be joining us tonight at Barber.
He's got to hear another racing week going on.
That's exactly what it is. Something about roads to Indianapolis or something like that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But, you know, both John and Dean, they've jumped to very early leads in their respective classes early on here in this very young season, and they've done it by staying clean gotten clear of any of the last lap shenanigans like we had at Mount Panorama just 2 weeks ago. But when it's tough to pass, as it is here at Barber, sometimes the elbows they do manage to come on out.
Yeah, they will, and I think those two gentlemen you mentioned there, with Dean not being here tonight, but I'd say between he and Don Allen trying to stay clean. Dean's advice last week and his strategy, I would say his advice this week, his strategy last week would be to be that stay clean, wait for your opportunity, don't go and blow it trying to shove your nose in somewhere. Let everyone else be the ones that do that. So I think tonight that'll be the ones that survive will be the ones that score well, and I think you're going to see a lot of folks thinking about Dean's words last week and trying to keep it clean.
Yeah, of course, 2 weeks ago when we were at Bathurst, we had the two 30-minute races with an inverted field for the second race, and tonight with that 60-minute long-form race, perhaps the drivers will be thinking more along the lines of the long gain. But here at Barber, where your hands are always moving, where the elevation is always rising and dropping. And there are really very few very few straightaways here. I mean, with the exception of maybe the front straight, you don't have a lot of these traditional passing opportunities. You just kind of have to pick your spots and throw the car in. Maybe things will end up a little bit different than we saw last time out at Bathurst, where we had a couple of drivers assessed 30-second penalties at the end of our second race due to again a little argy-bargy in the last couple corners. But tell you what, why don't we go pass things off to our own Kevin Ford? I think he may have ditched that Ford-powered MX-5 this week, and he's going back to the old Japanese power plant here. But let's let Kevin Ford take the wheel, give us tonight's track guide of Barber Motorsports Park.
Welcome, everyone, to beautiful Barber Motorsports Park, located here in Leeds, Alabama. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide today around this just amazing road course. A lot of undulation, a lot of blind entries here. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll head up the front straightaway as we get some good speed down this straight to head into a very blind drop-off to the left of turn one. Crossing the stripe, we'll head down here into this blind entry. We're going to lift, let the car rotate right to the bottom here, come right back to throttle, and set up our entry into turn two. Let the car rotate here, come right back to the bottom, out of turn three, and then up into this blind crest of turn four. This will bring us down to the heaviest brake zone here at Barber, turn five. Hard on the brakes as we get the car to rotate down to the bottom here. Come right back to throttle, up into third gear. Let it track out nice and wide so we can get that momentum here for this next straightaway. Around the slight bend of turn 6 there, this will take us down into the corkscrew of 7, 8, and 9. Heavy on the brakes, into 7, back left for 8, and then down into turn 9. Rotate to the bottom. Again, track out off the corner. Let's get some good speed as we head up the back straightaway here at Barber Motorsports Park. This will take us into turns 10 and 11. Right back to the right, just a slight lift of throttle. Then we'll come into the blindest corner and the fastest blind entry here into turn 13. Up over the crest of the hill here through 14. Down into turn 15 up here as we come up the hill to yet another blind entry. Let the car rotate to the bottom, get some good momentum. We're going to track out to the right and come right back to throttle through the final turn of 16, and then back down this very fast front straightaway here as we cross the stripe once again. There you go. There's your track guide for Barber Motorsports Park. Thank you for being with us.
All right, well, thank you, Kevin Ford, for tonight's track guide of Barber Motorsports Park. And Larry, I don't know, I think if he kept the Mustang, might have made a little better time here around Barber. But as tight as this course is, maybe not. So we do have our drivers out on course right now, starting their 15-minute qualifying session. They're about a little bit under 3 minutes into that qualifying session, and as we always do here in the Classic Sprint Series, we give these drivers the track to themselves, give them the opportunity to put in up to 4 flying laps to set the grid for tonight's 60-minute race. And we are watching right now the number 51 machine of Robert Brist. He is currently, I was going to say he's currently the fastest driver on track, but I don't think any of our drivers have set a time yet. And of course, Larry, and I think as we saw at Bathurst, getting a clean lap here at Barber might be a challenge for some of these drivers.
Yeah, it could be. This is, again, one of those tracks that invites you to use every piece of the limits and get a little 1X's around the space, even when you're by yourself. And then you start going too wide, as we'll see in the race. It gets even more dicey. But you watch some of these guys here, and you've got the camera shot there, Nick Marciano. Those corner entries are just a little tricky. You got to use the curves. You'll see him here. Look at that drift. Just trying to keep the car under control, and he's going to lose the control there. But that's the way this place is. Like you mentioned, kind of talking about this, and I'm sure in the track I saw the same thing. A lot of pavement elevation changes, a lot of camber changes. This place is really tricky to get a car that's balanced everywhere for a good fast lap time.
That's right, Ned. That was Nick Marciano putting on. It looks like he's as he comes onto the front straight, continues to have some problems here. Doesn't get a good run out of the final corner to start up his next flying lap. So we'll check in with Mr. Marciano a little bit later. But as you take a look.
I think he's trying to get heat tires, actually. This is his first flying lap. I think his opening lap, he was pushing it to see if he gets a heat in him. Yeah. Probably doesn't care too much at the start of this first qualifying lap, as they will get 4 of them. If the first one doesn't go well, you'll get 3 more with warmer tires. It's probably all right.
All right, and we do have some drivers with times in the books. Now, Mike Dam is your provisional pole sitter with a 136.95. Greg Mack, second fastest. Clint Vigas, third fastest. Chris Thorman, fourth fastest. All of those drivers are in the pro category, and then Eugene Weber in the number 54 machine. He is at the moment your fastest of the AM category drivers with a 138.24. That is fifth fastest overall. Mike Taylor, then Steve Daniel, your top 3 in the AM category. And although I don't see it on our timing tower at the moment, broken down by class, as you watch these cars on track, as we're watching the number 96 of Steve Daniel right now, the drivers with the red mirrors and red number boards on the doors, those are our AM category drivers. Our pro category drivers will have the black mirrors and black number boards, as we see there Mike Dam, who's just now gone to the top of the leaderboard, turning in a 136.47, and you can see there the black mirrors and the black number boards on the side there, that number 93 machine. And so something you definitely want to keep a track of as we, especially after we get out of qualifying and you have many different cars, all obviously looking very much the same on track. So Larry, as we're getting through qualifying here, let's take a quick look at where we are in the standings after two race outings, but 3 rounds. We had, of course, our opening 60-minute round at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, and then we had rounds 2 and 3 2 weeks ago at Bathurst at Mount Panorama. So currently leading the pro category, and he has 1 win to his name so far. And that win was in our opening round at WeatherTech Raceway. John Allen in the number 101 Defined AutoWorks machine with 103 points. We then have a tie for second currently with Orion Racing's Mike Dam, our provisional pole sitter at the moment, as well as Brennan Horn. Brennan Horn in the Esports Racer entry. This his first season in the pro category after coming away with the AM category championship a season ago. Currently running fourth is David Payton with 73 points, and Robert Hartley only 2 points back from there in the Orion Racing number 3 machine. So things are fairly tight through our top 5 in the pro category. If we take a look at the AM category after 3 rounds, Dean Dibdahl, who has run the table so far, he took the win both races 2 weeks ago at Bathurst, and he also took the win in our initial round at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. He has 76 points, but again, not going to be here tonight. He is running, and I think they just wrapped up. We'll have to see if we can get a word on how he finished up tonight. But Dean was running at the TireRack.com Road to Indy E-Series presented by Cooper Tires, and I believe getting a lot of support from the World Karting Association as well, where Dean has been a championship karter for a number of years, and he's going to be getting into some MX-5 racing here in real life pretty soon. But again, leading that championship with 76 points. That is 9 points up on Eugene Weber in the Weber Racing machine. Eugene rejoining the Classic Sprint Series after, I believe, 2 seasons off, and he is at the moment our provisional pole sitter in the open category. And it looks like Eugene has turned in all 4 of his flying laps. Greg Brockway currently sitting 3rd in the points in his Team Esport Racer machine. Russ Ruddock in the Flying Tortoise Motorsports machine 4th, and then Steve Daniel in the SKKJ Racing entry, currently sitting 5th in the points in the AM category. And drivers sitting maybe just out of there. And actually, let me rephrase that. Steve Daniel is actually tied for 5th right now with Matthew Catila in the Cross-Thread Engineering number 137 machine. And Matthew, when he finishes up his qualifying, he should be, and it looks like he's just finished his 4th flying lap. He should be joining us for a pre-race interview, Larry.
Can't wait for that. It's a long ways around this track. Want to make sure he gets his laps in. But yeah, when he's done, we'll definitely get a moment with him, hopefully, and hear what his thoughts are on race season so far, as well as maybe going into this fun challenge here at Barber tonight.
All right, as we take a look here, Robert Hartley now in the number 3 man. There's Matt on track, Matthew Catilla, and as soon as he finishes his cooldown lap, hopefully we'll get him in here in the booth prior to the start of race 1. So Mike Dam still sitting atop the leaderboard overall, and in the pro category, Robert Hartley, who just turned in his best lap of the evening, a 136.63, almost 4/10 though off of our provisional pole sitter. He's currently sitting 2nd. Then we've got Caleb Lavender in the 333 D2D E-Racing machine. You know, I think we say this more times than not, but it was not a good week for Mr. Lavender at Bathurst. He got mixed up with Mike Dam, I believe, on the very last lap of the 2nd race. He had some issues early on in the 1st race as well, and you know, again, it was a long night for him.
Yeah, it was, and hopefully he's able to put that behind him now here, looking at what it'll be 2 weeks later, and try to put this race in front and see what this one brings. Because Caleb will be the first one, I have to tell you. He's had his shares of ups and downs through his Ricmotech career racing so far.
Yeah.
A lot of downs with those and some upside downs. But hopefully tonight he can get himself off to a good race here and try to make a run at this championship here in the Classic Sprint in these MX-5. But I can tell you right now, Mike Dam has looked very strong through the opening practice and now here qualifying. John Allen, who we're taking a look at right now, finally getting something in the board. He's up there in the 4th. But I'm thinking right now, Mike Dam he's going to be a tough one to beat at this track.
Yes, he is, and I've seen Mike run, not only in this series but in another series as well in the MX-5s here at Barber, where he came away with the win, and very, very strong at this track. And and I think, Larry, also there is an inherent advantage. And again, it's a long race. It's a 60-minute race. These drivers are going to have to take at least one pit stop before getting to the checkered flag. But this is a track where, one, I think there's an inherent advantage to sitting on the pole, and frankly, the way this course drives, although, there are a number of corners where, maybe you could get out of the throttle a little bit early to try and save fuel. It's just one of those tracks where it's still somewhat difficult to do that because you'll have somebody try and throw the car underneath you. And try
I go back
try
to the
beat you
first round
the
at
apex.
Laguna Seca when we had the train, right? And then it came down to really how well could these guys throw pit stops around. Because that place is so tough to pass. This isn't too different from that in terms of the way the track races. It's going to be very difficult because of the lack of a really long straightaway. Laguna Seca and here they both share that issue. Not so much, of course, at Bathurst the last time out. Plenty of long straightaways and plenty of passing. But here tonight, we're back to that Laguna Seca feel of these walls and these guardrails feel like they're right in the track.
Yeah, and you take a look at it. I mean, that front straight there, where that we just saw John Allen take, is more or less the longest straightaway that you have here, and it's not very long at all. And more importantly, it's the corner leading into that straight is a more or less a sweeper. The corner leading off the straight is a sweeper, not the heaviest of braking. There aren't really, I think, any traditional, hard threshold braking 90-degree type turns here.
The closest might be turn 5, which is that downhill
the
hairpin. And if you can get a run off of the opening sequence, that turn 2 and 3 carousel-like section, and get a run as it comes up and over that little short hill at 4, maybe you can dive bomb and maybe make a pass into 5. But it's such a wide increasing radius corner that often it ends up being an over-under move kind of deal where someone might let you have the entry because they're going to get a better exit. So it just continues to go over and over again about how difficult this place is to pass. It could come down to strategy of fuel stops, but I think, if push comes to shove, somebody in this section we're watching right here with John Allen, it could come down to, a little bit of a dive bomb at the end as well. So it won't be over until it's over. I want to say this is impossible to pass, but it will be difficult.
All right. Well, I don't think the word ever got to Matthew Catilla that we were going to be interviewing him. As we haven't seen him arrive at the green room, and with just a couple seconds here left in qualifying, only about 30 seconds left to go in qualifying, Larry, probably best that we let Matt get prepped for
maybe in the green room
race.
He got to chatting with the unsers over there who are still coming off of the Road to Indy series. Maybe that's what was going on. He decided to chat with them instead of us.
That could very well be looking for sponsorship opportunities, looking for real
or just
TV
race
airtime.
shop, could just be bench racing.
That could very well be. So hopefully we'll be able to hook up with Matt Catilla at the end of tonight's activities. Again, a 60-minute race here at the beautiful Barber Motorsports Park. And Larry, I think we've got our drivers starting to grid up here. Why don't we run down the starting grid?
Alrighty, so tonight, starting on pole from Canada, the Orion Racing outfit brings you Mike Dam, your pole sitter. Alongside is going to be his teammate from Orion Racing, Robert Hartley. On row 2, bumped himself up into the 3rd spot here right at the end of qualifying, the Defined AutoWorks entry of John Allen. He'll be lined up against D2D Racing and Skull Sim Gear, Caleb Lavender. Row 3, another D2D Racing driver. This is Chris Thorman. He'll be lined up alongside Clint Vigas in the Meh Motorsports. On row 4, in the Soto Racing operation.
About that, Larry.
Meh Motorsports.
Meh.
Row 4, the inside is Josh Soto. He'll be lined up alongside Weber Racing's Eugene Weber. On row 5, Brandon Horan, the Esports Racer entry. He'll be lined up alongside teammate Craig Mack. Row 6, it's going to be David Payton, the D2D Racing driver there, alongside StreetSurvival.org's Jeff Jacobs. On row 7, on the inside, Matt Catilla, Crossfire Engineering. Hopefully he enjoyed his conversation with the answers. He'll be lined up alongside Esports Racers Jordy Fike. On row 8, it's Craney Custom Racing's Jeffrey Cranston, alongside Tony Kernan, the Kernan Motorsports. On row 9, Steve Daniel on the inside of SKKJ Racing is his sponsor. On the outside, in the Frito Sport Racing entry, Mike Taylor. On row 10, on the inside, it's the Flying Tortoise Motorsport, Russ Ruddock, alongside Esports Racers, Greg Brockway. And then on row 11, John Casey on the inside, the 046 Racing entry, alongside Carson Catlin in the Triple C Racing driving entry there. On row 12, Nick Parson will be on the inside of the NAP Motorsports entry alongside Robert Brest from RFC Racing. And we've got one player on row 13 on Frito Sport Racing, Mike Key.
All right, there you go. Yeah, we don't want to leave Mike Key out there as he's going to be running shotgun on the field, and our pace car now has the field with Mike Dam, Robert Hartley running right behind, and we'll have 16 turns for these drivers to get some heat in those tires. You know, as I think we saw Larry watching some of these drivers on their out laps, even with all of the corners here, still it's a bit of a challenge to get heat in the in those rear tires. You really got to lean on the car quite a bit here, but I'm sure that our two front row drivers, both from Orion Racing, will certainly be cognizant of that as they take the green flag here. Now, a little bit of a change this season from previous seasons in that our drivers, they will not be taking the green based on the automated system that iRacing has. We have a real live starter sitting back behind the scenes, and they will give the word over the radio to our drivers when the green flag is in the air. There is no passing, however, until they cross the start-finish line. Now, the start-finish line at Barber is fairly close up on that back straight, so you'll see some passing pretty much right away. But you know, when we were at Bathurst, we saw some pretty quick green flags, but they waited quite a bit longer at Laguna Seca and waited for the drivers to get much closer to the start-finish line before throwing the green.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting because some of these drivers should still be in the corner, especially the back row or two, when they do see the green. The other thing I want to note here is because of the right-hander turn 1, followed by the left-hand turn 1, followed by the long right-hand turns 2 and 3 complex, the driver on the outside, if he could just keep his nose along his driving row mate through those first corner, has a chance to overtake position before they settle things out around that the uphill, downhill kink before they get to 5. So keep your eye on the outside row here. So Hartley and Lavender may have opportunities to overtake on this first lap.
Yeah, if you can get a good run at the drop of the green flag, and as you mentioned, get the car down to the inside through that carousel over turns 2 and 3, that does set you up. And it's still a decent little run down to the hairpin, down to Charlotte's Web.
Lavender's going to stick to the back of Dan.
There we go. So pace car is on the pit lane, and our pole sitter Mike Dam has the field, bringing him onto the front straight. Dam to the inside, teammate Hartley to the outside with Allen and Lavender right behind. Green flag is now in the air, has been given by race control, and we are underway here for Barber Motorsports Park. Mike Dam keeping to the inside. He doesn't try to push over a little bit on his teammate, and they go side by side. But look at this, Larry, as you mentioned, we do have a car that has gone off, and we'll check on that in just a moment. I think that might have been Mike Taylor.
Brennan Horn.
Oh, it's Brennan Horn, the number 45 machine, currently running second in the championship, and he's going to fall all the way to the back of the field. But, you know, on that start there, you called it, as Robert Hartley got the car all the way down to the inside of the apex at turns 2 and 3, and he takes over the lead from Mike Dam. We've got John Allen in that green Defined Auto Works machine running in second, and then side by side, right behind them, we've got the two D2D E-Racing teammates of Lavender and Thorman, and as they go now into the corkscrew here, drop down into turn 9 and around that bend, we do have Caleb Lavender. He's gotten around Thorman, and then we've got Clint Vigas very, very close behind. So still a lot of very close racing here at the front, as we are now about halfway through our very first lap, and you can see here all in line as Brennan Horn, he's going to have to try and make up some ground. I think he did impact the Armco over there coming out of turn 1, which might impact his ability to carry speed.
Intended here on Monday Night Ricmotech Series, yes, that will definitely impact his race. It's unfortunate, as you said, he came in with a really good, strong points collection so far. not going to have much of a chance to get one tonight. He's got to really work his tail off. We already talked about how difficult this place is.
Oh, and we have another car, Larry, that's gone around, and it's one of the D2D iRacing machines, and I think that was Chris Thorman.
It is,
in the number 60 machine, gets the final corner all wrong, and he impacts the wall. He's on the pit lane now, early, getting repairs done to his car, but that drops him out of fifth position, and that is going to move Vigas now up into fifth.
Wow, that's huge because he was up there in the top 5. He was running right there on the heel of teammate Lavender, and now he finds himself on the toe, race likely over for him. But out in front, we talked about how good Mike Dam was going to be here tonight. Hartley gets that jump, but he actually was at one point here as they crossed the stripe, was up about 8/10. Dam and Allen working together here to try and claw back in, but Hartley right now is definitely the fastest of this field. Everyone else trying to have to work together to streamline and find their way to catch up to him. But man, Hartley, it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, it isn't. All right, let's take a look, Larry. I think we've got a replay of that incident with Chris Thorman coming out of the final corner onto the front straight, and looks like he dropped the wheel. You know, his teammate Lavender did the same thing, but it didn't affect Lavender. Thorman loses the rear end, goes around, and loops right across the track and into the pit wall there. Luckily, didn't pick up any other drivers on the way there. But that drops him back, and it has not been a good night so far for Brennan Horan or Chris Thorman, who are having to make recovery drives from the back of the field.
One of the things here about Barber Motorsports Park, this place does not exactly have Circuit of the Americas type of runoff. We got another spinner out there. I think that's Catilla.
Catilla that just went around the 137 car.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so the final corner here. Final corner here on cold tires, really proven to be problematic for these drivers early on as he now tries to get back up to speed, but he's going to end up falling in line at the very end. It looks like at the end of the line right behind Horn, actually slots in between Horn and Thorman, I believe, is still on the still on pit lane there.
Yeah, and that one there for Catilla looked like kind of a mid-corner slide. The car just a little loose, like you said, maybe just cold tires. Yeah. The one earlier for Thorman, he a little slide, but he got all the way out to that grass edge, and there's just no grip on a loaded tire to that grass edge. No. I think his teammate, Lavender, managed to survive only because he got a quick counter steer and kept the momentum going in the right direction. Thorman maybe not quite as quick to catch the car, and around he went, smacks that wall. His night appears to be done. But out in front, like Dam has done the dirty work. He's been able to catch up to teammate Hartley.
And he's you can see how much for the moment he's dropped John Allen, the 101 car. Allen is now fallen about 7/10 of a second back, and looks like our fourth place runner Caleb Lavender is a little bit further back off him as well. Now, Larry, our leader in the AM category is Eugene Weber. Here is our overall leader, comes onto the front straight. Eugene Weber, there he is, that black number 54 machine with the red mirrors. He is currently your leader, and he's got a pretty good advantage now over the rest of the AM category. If you look all the way back there, his next closest competitor, Jeffrey Cranston, in the 97 machine, had just come onto the front straight there. There are now 5 pro category cars sitting between Weber in first and Cranston in second.
Yeah, for Weber, that really couldn't have gone any better to not only be up there running in the top 10 of the overall, but then to have 5 cars between you and your nearest rival. That's looking good for him. Still early, but you got to like that kind of a start. As we got a shot of him there, just coming out of the turn 5 section. It's such a tough corner around here with just no camber gain at all. It just completely fades away from you. And then you got this medium straightaway here after that to try and to gain some of that back. Very tough sequence, but he looks like he's running pretty strong right here in this pack in between Soto and Mack, a couple of veterans out here. And Weber holding his own there with those red mirrors in the AM class.
That's right. As Soto, much like Brennan Horan, moving up to the pro category this year, Josh Soto doing the same as well after putting in a very, very strong rookie season here in the Classic Sprint Series last season, season 3. He's showing his medal in the pro class here and doing fairly well. Josh is currently running, I believe, currently 5th in the championship.
I love watching the variety of lines.
A little further back. Josh is running 9th in the championship. Did have a 5th place finish and a 13th place finish at Bathurst 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, just watching all the variety of lines as they came around that carousel leading section up to that turn 14 section before they came to the last corner of the course. Just fun to watch. This is another one of these turn 1 into 2. One of those places in motorsports you see such a variety of lines. In this case, kind of caught Soto out just a bit. He was thinking he had a good momentum, but he had to check up a little bit for Vigas, who wasn't quite as efficient through that corner as Soto was. But Soto, Josh, doing what he can, checks up a little bit, keeps the things in line, and plays for another day.
And you can see there how quickly a hole will seem to open up for a driver, and then it just disappears as this track is just seemingly an endless series of undulations here. That there's just very little time to take advantage of a mistake or issue there. As we look at coming onto the front straight, the number 79 machine of Nick Parsono trying to take advantage of John Casey coming onto the straight there. That is the battle. That's the battle for 18th. I'm a little surprised to see Nick Parsono back there. Did not have a very good qualifying session here this evening, obviously.
No, not especially, and that's why he'll play in the pack and hopefully will move himself up here just a little bit if he can. He's kind of got Hetland and Horan right behind him.
Yeah, we're watching right now of Brockway, Casey, Parsono. This is the battle for 6th in the AM category. A little bit further up ahead, we have Russ Ruddick in the number 95 machine. Ruddick having dropped back to the AM category from the pros last season. But he's got a little bit of clearance on those 3 drivers. And then a little bit further back from there, Carson Catlin in the 76 machine.
Yeah, and then like I mentioned, the Brennan are not too far back from that, so we'll keep an eye on that as we head back up to our top 5 or 6 here. Top 2, Hartley and Dan, the teammates, everybody knows the tail with John Allen and Kevin Lavender there chasing them down. Just a slight bit of a gap, a couple of extra car lengths there before they then get to Clint Vargas and Josh Soto, currently in 5th and 6th. Those guys are going to also stay in that draft behind Lavender. And not the longest straightaways around here, but these short straightaways means the draft definitely helps. It gives you a couple opportunities to gain back up if you had lost a 10th to a corner. But if you get beyond that 1.2, 1.3 seconds, the draft seems to just disappear.
Yeah.
Right now, that's about where they're at between Lavender in 4th and Vargas in 5th.
Yeah, and now this is a little section here where it appears that the 2 Orion Racing teammates have maybe a little tiny bit of an advantage as they drop in over here, going through the S's. They start to make their run back up the hill. Big, wide, sweeping turn, the tunnel turn. And it is again, it's one of those deals here where you may open up that large amount of ground, and maybe it isn't the draft that brings you closer, Larry, but it just takes for you to be a little bit offline for one corner, and it'll throw you off for another 3 and give the drivers behind you a little bit of an opportunity to catch up, because we had Allen. And now in the last lap, actually, the gap is opened back up. Allen had gotten to within about 0.3 of a second of Dan.
We got action. Mike Dam trying to make the move on teammate Hartley. He's on the inside, but can he hold it? I mentioned how difficult this is because sometimes the outer car can get a better run. Mike Dam smartly kind of blocks that midway through the corner, force Hartley outside. We've got a new leader, Mike Dam.
There we go. And as they now make the run down to the hairpin, down over towards turn number 5. And through the hairpin, and actually, my mistake, down through the corkscrew over at turn number 7. I'm a couple turns behind, it looks like, here as they go through. But that little bit of action side by side, it didn't look like Hartley really put up much of a fight on Mike Dam, but it still allowed John Allen and also Caleb Lavender to close things down just a little bit, at least on Hartley.
Yeah, I think if anything, it also helped Vargas and Soto.
Yeah.
As you can see, this is a full 6-car train with this top 6 group, and even Weber not far back in 7th. Just clinging to the tail end of it there.
Yeah, and perhaps as we saw before, where Soto, who's really tossing the rear end of that car around, was sitting pretty much right on the back bumper of Clint Vargas. maybe he's decided to just sit back and give himself a few more options, I think, in case Vigas gets a corner wrong. But and you can see there as Vigas rolls back up the hill, going up through turn 3 and the 4. Again, just you see the rear end of that car just slot out just a little bit, and it gives Soto a bit of a run.
Yes, we flash back here into the pack. Oh, no, we're back up with the group here. This is 71 of Vigas. And then Soto right behind him. You said maybe just giving him a little bit of room, not always a bad thing. And as long as you kind of stay within striking distance, is not a terrible thing to give a little extra gap. I myself like about a 4 or 5 tenths gap. You start sticking your nose underneath somebody's tail end there at 1.1 and 0.2, and you're just asking for trouble.
Yeah, you just don't have anywhere to go. You can't. You're bound to get caught up in something if something a car ahead or 2 cars ahead happens.
Yeah, especially when you're exactly, with Soto being the 6th car in this train. All it takes is for, let's say, the 3, 4, 5 to suddenly be fighting, and then you find yourself T-boning someone. Is Caleb Lavender right up on the back of John Allen, almost a little bit of bump drafting going on down the back straight.
All right, as they roll. Yeah, I mean, great watching here as they come up into 14 and 15, the last couple of corners before we come onto the front straight. Here we go through turn 16. And just as we were talking about Soto maybe giving Vigas a little bit of room there, we saw, of course, Lavender pretty much in the fuel cell of John Allen's Defined Auto Works machine.
Opposite than getting room. He would take all the room away and just I'm gonna see if I can brand my front plate or back plate. Look at this now. He's really shoving his nose in on Allen, forcing John to really think of what's going on behind him.
And you can see there is John also drops a wheel. Notice the last 2 laps or so, a little bit of push in John Allen's car. Doesn't seem to be able to get the nose down to the apex as well as cleanly. I don't know if he's worried, and it could be that he's worried about Lavender sitting right back behind him, or it may be that he's possibly overdriving the car, maybe over-braking just a little bit. Of course, we've talked before about how John Allen is, if there's one platform that he specializes in here on the iRacing platform, it is the MX-5. So, I would be very surprised to see him over driving, but maybe just a small issue with setup there, and at this point and with the fuel load that he has, he just can't get the car to turn in.
Yeah, sometimes you just even the greatest setup, you just have to live with it, and maybe we're seeing as a little compromise in some corners. But the way this place has so many undulations, maybe it helps them in little places. You're just starting to see where the weakness points are. Right. I'm sure at some point we'll see how the strength plays out within 40 minutes to go, 45 minutes.
All right, so as we're on lap number 9, Larry, I will say that we are probably just now entering what is going to be a very long, very broad pit window for these drivers. We would suspect that they will probably be able to get somewhere along the lines of a maximum of 28 laps on their initial tank full fill of gas, and the races should last somewhere around 37 laps. So again, a very, very big pit window. We may see drivers come in early, I would suspect, since at least our leaders, Dan Hartley, Allen Lavender, Vigas, and Soto, they have not come up on any slower traffic as of yet. They'll probably stay out there for quite some time.
Yeah, the pack generally from the front to the tail is relatively tight here, and it's a bit surprising to me, but I guess it shows that even the so-called mid-pack guys and the tail end guys are still very fast drivers in this Classic Sprint Series. So it's good for the front because they can keep running and not be so worried about running into traffic and make their way through. Maybe, though, in another 10 minutes might see some of that, and that might be when some of the drivers decide it's time to go in and take their fuel stop. But look at Lavender still just up the tail end there.
Yes.
Just wants to be in the trunk of that green Defined Auto Works entry, doesn't he?
And he's using every last bit of every single bit of curbing here, Larry. You can see there to try and open this track up. Both he and also right behind him, Clint Vigas. And you can see that the curbing here at Barber, for at least the apex curbing in a lot of places, very, very wide, almost the entire width of one of these Mazda MX-5s.
Yeah, definitely is a tough place, and anything in the Miatas aren't a bad fit for this place. We got a run here, the 64, Peyton trying to get a run, Greg Mack as they head down into turn 1. And then Tony Kernan figured he'd give it a shot too. Right there in the tail, all three of these guys can be fighting for positions as they go through the turn 1. It looks like Peyton does get the position, but can Tony now also jump ahead of Greg Mack?
Yeah, and this little battle here, these 4 cars, this is the battle for 7th overall. The car that's jumped out as we've got Mack, Peyton, and Kernan fighting it out for position. They're actually fighting it out right now for 7th in the pro category. The lead car in that group is Eugene Weber. You can see with the red mirrors on the car. He is our AM category leader, and the next AM category car, he's not even in the view yet. That's Jeff Cranston still with 5 pro category drivers between he and our leader Weber.
Yeah, I was just watching there as for Weber to have such a gap, but watching the battle there as Kernan was really trying to force Mack into a bad line, got up alongside him as they turned into the corkscrew, was able to force it, but wasn't able to capitalize on it as Mack was still able to get the good exit and now down back straight through that crossover, and then they started heading up to this upper turn 13, 14 section. Max still holds them off, but they've got a little bit of daylight out in front of them now as David Payton is taking off a little bit as it looks like Greg Max to take his full stop.
I was just going to say, I saw the flash of the brake lights from Greg Mack as he was coming up through turn 14, and indeed, Greg Mack is going to be one of our very first drivers in for a pit stop. We also have Jeff Jacobs on the pit lane as well. He rolled in for his pit stop, and we'll see which one of those 2 drivers come out. It's a fairly long pit lane here at Barber, and it looks like Mack is going to be the first of those 2 drivers into his pit stall.
I'm watching this battle here of Vigas and Soto. Soto, we were saying earlier, was kind of stepping back. I think he's seeing the gap between Lavender in 4th, Vigas in 5th, kind of stretching a little bit. I think Josh is getting antsy back there, so he's really trying to push the pace, and maybe if an opportunity comes, try to leapfrog past Clint Vigas. Although Vigas seems to have gotten back on pace there through the first half of this lap, close that gap up a little bit. But Soto looking a little bit nervous back there, does not want to lose the train there, that top 4.
No. And just ahead as we were watching that battle, I was watching again John Allen as they came out of the corkscrew there, again with lots of push, lots of understeer from that car. Although I mean there and you're helped quite a bit by camber in that complex there. But the car looked somewhat okay. You can also see though he takes again a very different line from both Dam and Hartley. Coming through those final corners, coming through 14 and 15, and for a moment there, looked like Hartley lefty was had some designs on the lead there, coming through 14 and 15, and looks like he's starting to push the pace and maybe pushing his teammate just a little bit more.
I think he's pushing, not necessarily for a pass, but trying to get antsy here and say, hey, Mike, we got to go. We've got about that 1 second number here, the time between us and the 2 behind us. Maybe we can break this draft. So I don't know that he wants to go by, but he certainly wants to stay as close as he can to Mike in front of him and try to stretch that gap behind him as much as possible before John Allen starts to sniff in some of that fresh air of the draft. He doesn't, Mike Dam and Robert Hartley want to open this up. And right now, that 1 second starts to feel like an eternity. And you can look, Caleb Lavender can sense it. He's back up underneath the back of John Allen saying, come on, man, we can't lose these guys.
And here we go again. And, this is what I was saying, is coming out of the corkscrew where that machine just seems, the 101 machine just pushes very, very wide. And it looks like he doesn't get a good run out of there. He ends up losing quite a bit of ground to our 2 leaders. And yeah, I think you're right. I think Lavender might be getting a little antsy as well. He's got to be looking right behind him and seeing Vigas and Soto starting to close down on them, and the gap but from he and Allen up to our leaders now is at about 1.1 seconds. So our leaders, the 2 Orion teammates, starting to maybe stretch things out as we now have John Allen. He comes down the pit lane. He's going to take a fairly early pit stop. You saw there the rear end step out. He just missed the Armco there at pit in, but he is another one of our early stops. I saw the rear end of that car slide out, Larry, and I had flashbacks to to Brazil very early on. I think it was the opening round of season 3, where he had some issues on the pit lane. All right, we got a replay coming up, Larry, here, and let's take a look at the action, and that is John Casey, I think, coming up on Catilla. Yeah, and Casey just really late lunge, and I'm sure Catilla just really had no clue that Casey was going to be coming underneath there, that very late move.
Yeah, and then I see Casey getting a little text chat of sorry. He obviously didn't need to do that, little mix-up of communication of pace there, I think, and Casey not meeting him and something like that, but things happen. I was talking about the pit stop for John Allen, and it is interesting he break away this early from the first run pack. Maybe he's thinking he's just on rhythm, wants to kind of reset things. My concern is what we talked about before. There's such a long train of the pack. There isn't really anybody back yet, which means, as you can see here, he came out in the middle of it. It's tough to put in good, clean lap times when you're having to pass someone every other lap. And there it is already, trying to have to work his way around the 62. I believe that's Brockway.
Yeah, that was Brockway.
And it's going to happen. So all of a sudden, trying to turn laps in the 136s and low 137s like the rest of the front, suddenly you find yourself doing 138s because you had to take an extra moment to get by somebody on every lap.
That's right. All right. So watching right now, it looks like David Payton has gotten around our AM category leader, Eugene Weber. So move Payton now up into 6th overall and 6th in the pro category. And Weber now under attack from Tony Kernan in the black number 7 machine. You can see there a little bit of brake lock up from Tony Kernan, trying to find his way around the 54 machine and get back into that battle for the AM category, or probably for the pro category. I mean, this is the challenge for these drivers here, Larry. Also, is that for the most part, I don't think Weber knows that Kernan isn't in his category, isn't in his class. And it may be the other way as well, since all these drivers, they just see that they've got it in their relative screens that they just have another MX-5 ahead or behind them.
Yeah, sometimes also the red mist flows, and you just want to race whoever's around you, and you don't really care whether or not somebody is in exactly your class or not. You just want to go racing them, and he's doing a fine job, I would say, mixing it up with these guys here in the 7th, 8th positions, right on the tail of the Payton there in 6th. So I think Weber's doing a fine job, but you're right. As long as he can have the fun without losing it, as he does give that position up finally to Tony Kernan.
Yeah, Kernan with a nice move coming right underneath the number 54 machine. And now coming onto the pit lane, Caleb Lavender, the 333 machine, and Josh Soto as well. So pitting in from 4th and 5th. And that is going to move now Vigas up into 3rd position. And so Dam and Hartley, the two Orion teammates, they are staying out on track. And, Larry, a little surprising for me that to see these drivers pit in so early.
John Allen was the surprising one to me, but as I started to think about why now would Caleb Lavender and Josh Soto come in, well, they would like to have someone to run with. They want to have someone that can push and someone they can help draft with. Because I think running in pairs is a little quicker than just running by yourself. You got somebody at your own pace, like we're seeing now with the teammates, Dan and Hartley out in front. Well, Lavender was too far back to sniff the draft behind Dan and Hartley. He was having to work too hard to try and stay with him. But perhaps he can go back and find John Allen. These guys can hook back up again and start setting that pace. And there it is. Lavender comes out right next to the 62 of Greg Brockway, just as we had seen John Allen. And then there's John Allen about a second and a half up the road in front of him after his pit stop. But he's still struggling, though, to get around Brockway. This is not helping Caleb at all.
No, it is not. Maybe a couple turns more than he would have wanted. But I think the saving grace there you're going to see is John Allen. He's got a couple cars directly ahead of him. He's got both Mike Taylor and also Brennan Horn up ahead, and I would suspect that John Allen is going to find quite a bit of difficulty getting around that white number 45 Team Esports Racer machine.
Yeah. So interestingly, look at the pit stop times. John Allen very fast, about 2 seconds faster than Lavender in the stop, which suggests he took on less fuel. Either a mistake by Lavender or potentially maybe a risk here by John Allen, thinking he may have to conserve some, but would rather take that chance. The other one, though, remember Josh Soto came in right behind these guys?
That's right.
About 10 seconds slower. So perhaps he took on tires, thinking there's some opportunity there, or maybe just a mistake in his pit stop. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But Josh now about 6 positions behind Lavender. You can see them on the tower there. He's back in 18th to Lavender's, and Allen 12th, 13th.
All right, as we jump back and watch again, this has been a great battle unfolding here, Larry. Especially with the pit stops, they're starting to find their way up towards the front of the field here. As we've got David Payton in the 64 machine and Tony Kernan coming up, and we'll see when they decide to take their pit stops here this evening. But you know, it looks as though, again, very different lines through some of these corners, as we've seen, and you know, and we've seen Tony Kernan quite a bit driving the Porsches, and I guess now driving actually driving a Lamborghini in the World Challenge Series, but always a very smooth driver. You don't see a lot of a lot of additional inputs from the wheel. You don't see him tossing it around, and it just looks as though right now he's just trying to set up the 64 machine.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that has definitely been one of his traits. Is always a very smooth, and also one of the other things we see is he tends to get faster as the race goes on. And whoa, right in front of him, it looked like Payton may have got a little bit of a stumble coming off there, got to the grass, giving Tony an opportunity. But boy, that opportunity surprised the heck out of him.
yeah, it certainly did. Maybe I thought that Kernan was trying to set him up, but I think the opportunity came a lot more quickly than he expected. And both Kernan as well as Eugene Weber take advantage of it. That's drops Payton back 2 positions overall. And for a moment there, I think Weber had a good head of steam on him. Could not find a spot to sneak underneath Tony Kernan. He's going to settle back in line here now. And
I think Tony, while the opportunity presented itself, I think he actually had to check up just a hair because it was such a hard checkup from the 64 and Payton. I think Payton had caught that grass and did not want to go and smack that wall like we had seen one of his teammates do at the opening lap of this race. Instead, he's able to only just lose 2 positions to keep racing for another day. But for Kernan, good opportunity. I don't know if he's going to be fast until late for these guys. These guys are both showing some pretty good speed tonight, but he's going to give it a run as these guys have got themselves all the way up into 4th, 5th, and 6th now with the pit stops.
Ooh, another little bit of understeer there from Payton coming into that complex, and you're starting to see there where perhaps that car is maybe he was eating up some tires trying to get around Weber early on, and now he's going to come into the pit lane. So we'll see what David Payton does. Now it looks as though most of these drivers are not taking tires. And we'll have to see if Payton is if he follows suit.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see where he comes out, because that has been a really good battle for the first half of this race tonight. I'd love to see some of that continue. This battle up in the front has been basically one change after green flag and one more a couple laps later that put Mike Dan back out in front of Hartley. Other than that, these two have been pretty much inseparable now for about 30 minutes. And when they do come in, all they're hoping for, look at those lap times, just sitting there right about 37.0 lap after lap. That's going to be tough to catch, because we know that Lavender and Allen had both stopped, but they're running mid-37s and high 37s. I don't know that they're going to be able to catch these guys unless Dan and Hartley put in a really long pit stop.
A very long pit stop, exactly. So, Larry, we also just saw Brennan Horn come into the pit lane. He is taking his pit stop. It looks like he is probably going to come out somewhere around 20th or 21st.
Might have even taken a couple of optional repairs for an extra couple of seconds. He had some pretty rough body work.
Yeah, matter of fact, he had come into the pits right around the same time as David Payton, and of course Payton in and out. So that may very well be the case that Horn was trying to get some of those repairs done. As we are now just about halfway, actually a little bit over, Larry, halfway through this 1 hour, 60-minute race to the checker from Barber Motorsports Park. So tell you what, hopefully we don't miss it. Of course, we're still waiting for our 2 leaders, Mike Dam and Robert Hartley, to make their way down pit lane. And we'll let you know if they do. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break, thank some of our sponsors, and then we'll be back with the rest of the action all the way to the checkered flag here on the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
All right, and we are back here at Barber Motorsports Park. I'm Greg Ginsburg along with Larry Lefty McLeod for the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. And Larry, in our absence, our two leaders, Mike Damon and Robert Hartley, have not taken their pit stop as of yet. We did have...
So glad they got the memo and chose to wait until we came back in the air before they didn't take their stops.
Thank God for them. We did have Tony Kernan bring his number 7 machine down the pit lane. He rejoined back in 13th, I believe. And here you go. Look at this. Caleb Lavender. He has caught up to John Allen.
Wow.
much sooner than I expected. And we just saw Allen throw out the block, used the one move to come across on Caleb Lavender here as they roll up the hill in the 14 and 15. And
yeah, I do wonder about if there's a setup issue with John Allen, because we normally, as we talked about in the opening, he's very much a Miata specialist, whether it be real life or here in the sim. And we've seen him very fast. He won our opening round in a tough fought race at Laguna. And here he is really struggling with pace. He was struggling to keep up with Hartley and Dam for his stop. And now you find he's struggling. And he was a couple seconds ahead of Caleb. Caleb's caught him. And don't be surprised if he passes him with the pace that Caleb appears to have.
All right, and taking a look, Eugene Weber, our AM category leader, coming into this round of pit stops, taking it looks to be 4 new tires, Larry.
Yeah.
So long time for Eugene on the pit lane. And as he now starts to make his way back out on track, he's going to drop down to 4th in the AM category. Mike Taylor, Greg Brockway, Matt Catilla running 1, 2, 3 now in AM. None of those 3 drivers have taken a pit stop as of yet, but I'll tell you,
Speaking of stops,
yeah, and here we go. Mike Dam onto the pit lane. That is going to give the lead to Robert Hartley. And here we go. We're now going to see what the strategy is. We'll see if Mike Dam takes any tires. I can't imagine that he's going to take any tires here.
If he does, it'll be just the one side while the car is refueling. But it does give us, having seen Weber do it, gives us a bogey on how much time it takes to do all 4 tires. I look at his stop, about 37 seconds for everyone else, which is right around 2021. So yeah, it's a significant penalty. only pays off, I would think, if for some reason we go full yellow, and he would have so much more grip. But it does not appear any tires go on for Mike Dam as he is away. Where does he come out? And down the first straight goes Lavender and Allen. How close to Mike Dam are they? Dam's already going around turn 2. He's going to have a couple seconds on these guys.
Well, and here's where we're going to be able to find out what happens in the M category. Matt Catilla, who had been running in third, has taken to the pit lane for his pit stop. Now, remember, Catilla, and I was a little surprised to see him right up behind Brockway and Taylor. He had that early incident, or earlier incident, with John Casey. But you know, I would suspect that if the top 3 drivers don't take tires, or even just take 2 tires, that's gonna be problematic for Weber.
And here comes race assumed leader Robert Hartley. Now, how fast can he get down the pit lane entry without rubbing guardrails, taking his own safety? And then how quickly can he get his fuel on board and get out? He should have similar fuel on board, or his needs should be the same as his teammate Mike Dam. We'll see if he might come right back out the way they went in, or if one of them gets an advantage. So we'll say Mike stopped about 19 seconds compared to John Allen's 14, and Mike Dam still came out 5 seconds ahead.
5 seconds ahead, exactly. Yeah. Which, and there you go. At least left 2 tires for Robert Hartley. And so that may add a few seconds onto his pit stop here. Car's back down.
It's basically free. If the amount of fuel you got in, you could take 2 tires without really costing you anything. That means as long as he can hold a little bit of an advantage, let's see where they are when they come out. As long as he can have a nose in front, and now he'll have the faster car. But he'll have cold tires for the first lap.
That's right. And so Hartley and Dam now side by side as they come through the carousel. Now remember, the track is going to switch back. We're going to have the left-hand hairpin here under braking as
and
we
that's
go
his
down
warm tires now.
That's right.
His warm side will take over. But tough line. Great job by Mike Dam to push Hartley down to that inside and give himself a chance to be the inside as they come up to the corkscrew. But nothing's decided yet. Maybe now, just a nose in front.
There you go. As we now have sitting in the front of those 2 drivers, it is Mike Dam, the number 93 or Orion Racing Machine. Robert Hartley running second, and it looks like both of those drivers may be still dealing with some cold tires here as they just come out. Clint Vigas finds himself now in the lead of this race. He has not taken a pit stop yet. There is the Pacific Motors number 71 machine, Jordy Fike, who has made up 12 positions since the start of this race. He now finds himself in second. Dam and Hartley running third and fourth, respectively. So we'll see how much longer Vigas stays out.
Yeah, Pro and Am leaders now out on the track. But you notice this. We got a camera running out. Caleb Lavender has gotten around John Allen. Now he's going to try and set his sights on those teammates up ahead in Dam and Hartley. Long way to go in 20 minutes, but he does, in fact, get the spot from John Allen. And Caleb Lavender has been fast all night. We'll see. They have not been in this order. Remember, it was Allen leading Lavender the entire first way into the pit stops. So let's see now, can Allen stick with Lavender?
About a little bit less than 5 seconds separating Lavender and Allen from Dam and Hartley. And so, yeah, it's going to be a very tough run for 20 minutes to try and make up that ground. They picked up about 1,500ths just in the last lap or so. But again, long way to go here as we jump on board. There's Catilla, and right ahead of Catilla is is Taylor. Oh, and Taylor
went off
wide. And
he's off and back on again. So good news for Catilla. Doesn't have to make any contact to get that spot.
All right, so we're taking a look here at the AM category, and again, I know that we don't have it broken down by class or by category on the timing tower here. So that move right there between Catilla and Taylor, that moves Catilla now up into fourth in the AM category. He's got Weber directly ahead, and then we've got Cranston and Daniel up from there, and all of those drivers have taken their pit stops. And so Eugene Weber, who now finds himself, I think, almost 4.5, almost 5 seconds back from Cranston now, and sitting in third in class, may be ruining the decision to take, and there you can see in that shot right there is Jeffrey Cranston in the number 97 machine, might be ruining the decision to take on 4 tires.
I think he might be able to catch him. I'm looking at that gap, and I think he picked up a couple of tenths already on this last lap. He looks like he's flying around here, and those new tires are definitely going to help. I don't know if he's going to be able to pick up 2 or 3 more positions. Remember, you've still got your overall race leader, Jordy Fike, now I believe is the M-Class leader leading this race. He still needs to make his stop, so we'll see where he comes out once he does. He could be right in the middle of this mix here with Weber and Cranston and Daniel.
Yeah, it could make for a very, very complicated run as we jump back now to Mike Dam and Robert Hartley. This is now, for the moment, the battle for second. Of course, that should change when Jordy Fike does bring his car into the pit lane. And take a look at that as through the carousel, as they're basically scraping door handles on those MX-5s. And for the moment, side by side once again. Mike Dam, though, has position as they roll back up the hill through the S's. Turns 10 and 11, and they'll make the run over towards the tunnel turn. But again, this track, Larry, it is in so many ways, just a battle in positioning, and it's just a question of being able to move your car maybe a couple feet to the inside, just to take it away, to make it a little bit more difficult for somebody to take the apex away from you. Again, with these very short runs, there's very, very limited opportunity, even if you get a good run out of a corner, to just, out horsepower somebody down one of these short straights.
Yeah, it's so tough. It ends up being combo moves everywhere. Just get your nose inside someone's bumper. Make them take a bad line for one quarter, and maybe the next time you can get next to their door, and the next time maybe you can get a nose pass. It's that kind of effort it takes to get up high. And you can see here as for 3 Hartley, might have just done that. He would have got himself down to the inside going into turn 5. See if he can hold this and get a run coming out of here. The outside driver has a pretty good run because it's so wide, increasing radius coming off of there. Mike Dam is able to get that run. I don't know that it's going to be enough. I think it's still a nose ahead for Hartley as they're going to come up to the corkscrew.
Yeah, now remember, we saw this exact same play as Hartley had come out of his pit stall and out of the pit lane, and Mike Dam was able to take advantage, having about a lap to 2 laps newer warmer tires on the car to get around Robert Hartley. But in this case, Hartley, who had that run through the inside of the outside of the carousel, the inside of the hairpin, able to work his way past Mike Dam. So now move Hartley up into second overall. As again, we're still waiting on Jordy Fike to take his pit stop here.
And right on cue, there he is.
There it is. And lap 27. And what did we say? That probably the pit window would close around lap 28.
Big window.
There you go. And so now Jordy Fike hits the pit lane as our 2 leaders now, Hartley and Dam, go past on the front straight to start lap number 28. And let's take a look here. We haven't checked in. Hartley and Dam, Larry, have really continued to open up their advantage on Lavender and Allen.
I'm amazed. Yeah, I'm amazed at the pace of these guys. Because remember, when Allen came in, he was the first of the front leaders there to do it. He was 1 second behind Robert Hartley for second spot. And all of a sudden, now you see them, after all the pit stops have shaken out, they are 7.5 seconds behind the top 2 leaders now, are Lavender and Allen. That's astounding. Now, some of that is that early stop risk that you take and that you might get caught in some traffic. I think that they did. But it's the pace of Hartley and Dam. These guys are flying tonight.
Absolutely. And not only is it the pace of Hartley and Dam, I think as we see here, both Lavender and Allen maybe, not going at it every single corner, but, there's been a little bit of battling there, which I'm sure has held them up quite a bit. Here as we take a look, speaking of battling, Brennan Horn, who, again, started off in the top 5, had that first lap spin, didn't even make it down past turn 1 to turn 2, dropped all the way to the tail end of the field. He is now at it with Steve Daniel. Daniel is our open category leader at the moment.
Is he?
Yes, he is.
Or is Jordy Fike?
Nice. Daniel's our open category leader, running 12th overall, and that's Horn right behind him. Jordy Fike, by the way, who had been was our last of the pro category drivers to take to the pits. Fike rejoined in 10th.
I was thinking Jordy was in the M class. Apparently he's not.
As we watching this,
continues.
Yeah, this is a battle, Larry, that's continued from the drop of the green flag through the pit stops and on with this race, as we now have just about a little bit over 13 minutes remaining here from Barber Motorsports Park, and that is Tony Kernan in the black number 7 Mazda MX-5, and then David Payton in the number 64 machine. And this has been pretty much where we've seen him now. Again, and Larry, we talk about the difference in tire strategies. Of course, the other driver that had been with these two drivers for the first half and more than the first half of this race, Eugene Weber, who at the time had been our AM category leader. There's Weber, and Weber now sitting right on the back of Jeffrey Cranston. Weber and Cranston are running 14th and 15th, respectively here, as opposed to Peyton and Kernan, who are running 7th and 8th. So you can see what the big difference there when taking those extra tires. But now we've got Eugene Weber. He gets around Jeffrey Cranston. For the moment, he now moves up into 2nd. And so the next car in line is Brennan Horan, has gotten around Jeff Jacobs. Next car in line is going to be Steve Daniel, who is that open category leader, but 5 full seconds ahead. There you go. You can see the gap between that bronze and light blue MX-5 to the 2 black cars behind.
Yeah.
That is
not impossible.
That's your podium.
Not impossible, but it's going to be a tough road to try and catch Steve Daniel because Steve may not have taken new tires. He's not gotten that much slower yet. He's still running good, solid 38s, and unfortunately for Weber, he's going to need about 2 seconds a lap. He's going to be running some 36s to try and catch up to Steve Daniel before this thing is over. We got about 12 more minutes. Call that roughly about, what are we looking at, about 8 laps?
I was just say about 8 laps, perhaps 9 if depending on where our leaders are on track.
Yeah, so if you're 5 seconds back, you need to be about 1.5 seconds a lap faster. Weber right there, he's had moments of it. Is it going to be enough to catch Steve Daniel? We'll have to wait and see here as he's, I think, got mostly clear track in front of him to do it. Yes, he does. So you can almost see him as he rounds some of these corners. You can just about see that that turquoise and brown car out in front.
Yeah, and Larry, last time around, Eugene Weber had about 1 3/4 seconds on Steve Daniel. So again, it's not the 2 seconds that he needs, but it might be close. But again, as we've seen here, getting up to somebody's rear bumper is one thing. Trying to find your way around for most of these drivers has been something akin to a 3 or 4 or 5 lap chess match, and I just don't know if Weber has that much time to do it.
He's got it done about 3.8, so time is definitely dropping fast. This will be a fun one to watch as it goes. We got this battle shaping up, and we still, of course, have our overall lead. The 2 teammates there with Hartley just 1.5 tenths ahead of Dan. These guys are virtually side by side the entire way around this place. They're about 7 tenths. There's a whole 2 car lengths between them now.
Yeah, and you can see they're starting to come up on some slower traffic. They've got the 98 of Michael Key just ahead. We'll have to see if traffic plays into this battle for the top step of the podium here at Barber. It has not so far. I think both of these drivers have had very good luck with traffic. Pitted in, I think for both of them pretty much right before they started to hit any masses of traffic. So we'll see how this plays out. As we know Mike Dam can certainly get aggressive when he needs to.
He can. We'll see if he decides to take the aggression out on his teammates. What we don't know, as much as we know that Hart took the 2 left side tires, we don't know if Mike Dam did. We didn't have a camera on him at the time. It's possible. If he did not, then that could be a difference maker coming down the stretch. You could try to make that move, and you're on 1 hour old tires on someone who's one side of the car is only on about 25-minute old tires. Could make a difference, but what we don't know is if those teammates have the same tire strategy or not.
All right, and the battle continues on for the last step on the podium with Lavender, who's I think really had John Allen's number here most of the night. But again, and you can see right here, Larry, and again, it might just be a question of trying to make late turn-ins, but John Allen, just does that car just does not seem to have the bite going into some of these corners. The one I think the one where he does is actually going down into the corkscrew, which is more or less almost a straight line. But Allen's had some issues. You've seen that car step very, very wide, and he's been trying to open up these turns, I think, as much as possible to carry as much speed, given the handling issues that he's having.
Yeah, I also still wonder about how much fuel he was able to take on board in that very short pit stop, and that perhaps he's just doing everything he can to hang on to the back of somebody, in this case, Caleb Lavender, and try and save some fuel doing it to make it to the end and salvage a fourth place finish. So be interesting and to send John a message later this week and say, hey, so how much were you trying to save a little bit at the end of that race? Because right now he's looking like he's struggling to keep up with Lavender, but he's not out of the woods yet. Yeah. Lavender looking very quick.
And Larry, I was just watching that last shot that we had of Hartley and Dam as they came out of the tunnel turn, out of turn 13, and Hartley had both the left wheels in the grass, and luckily got that car straightened up just soon enough, or it really could have spelled troubles for him with Mike Dam right behind, but managed to hold off. And there you go, as we take a look at the 76 machine of Carson Catlin, allowing both Lavender and Allen through. So good heads-up driving from some of those guys sitting towards the rear of the field, as we see here as Weber and Cranston again closing things down on John Allen. Oh, and there you go, as Horn runs wide. And Larry, we see this all the time with Brennan Horn, and I swear on whatever that he is as fast through the grass as he is on the pavement.
You say you make a good rally driver. That'll be the next series. But off series, because Brennan Horn out there dominating his ability to run it sideways through the dirt and grass.
And you can see there is as Horn dropped the wheel going into turn one. And I think Allen, probably not Allen, but Steve Daniel trying to square that corner off. But he's, I think, as he has been fighting with Brennan Horn, it has allowed both Weber and Cranston to close things down just a little bit. Again, now only 6 minutes remaining here from Barber. Again, at about a little bit over a minute and a half per lap. What are we talking, Larry? About 7?
It's gonna happen. The more I watch this, the more that if Horn has one of those little bit of oopsie moments, it's no big deal. These guys are in different classes. What's the difference? Yeah. Daniel saying, "Hey, dude, can you keep it going? Because I'm trying to use you a little bit as a rabbit here for me. I got some gangs here behind me that want to get a piece of me, and I'd like to get out of here if I could, please, because I think that's what's going on." He's just being nice. Yeah, he's just thinking, "Come on, Horn, let's go, Brennan. I'm not going to fight you. I just need you to go." He's trying, and these guys. There's a different battle here. We've got a couple battles going on. It's got Peyton and Tony Kernan. Kernan on the inside, as the outside becomes that inside here through turn 2. Beautiful moves. These guys, again, they've been at it the entire night. Imagine if whoever was able to stay in this battle through this. We'd have three-way going like this. But these guys here battling, I believe this is the battle for 6th.
So John Grabowski just passed us the note, and he said that Tony Kernan, or not Kernan, but Brennan Horn, he's also running a Pro 4 truck in the XSLR series, also broadcast here on Apex Racing TV. And he says that his excuse for why he's not good at it is it's not a Miata. So
we need an off-road Miata series to give Brennan all of the perfect world to come together, worlds colliding. That's what he needs. He doesn't need a truck. He doesn't need a Miata on tarmac. He needs a Miata on dirt.
Oh, with big knobby tires and about a 4-inch lift. Yeah, exactly.
But this battle, this is interesting. He didn't take on enough fuel. I bet this is John Allen needing a splash.
There you go, John Allen onto the pit lane. That's going to drop him back. So that very short pit stop that he took earlier, a bit of a miscalculation there with now only 4 minutes remaining, probably somewhere around, 2 laps to go, 3 laps to go. Not enough to get him to the checkered flag. And so that is going to drop him down and drop him out of any kind of contention for a podium as we continue to look here at the AM category. There's Brendan Horn once again having the rear end step out. Steve Daniel in that bronze number 96 machine with the aquamarine stripes. He is your leader in the AM category. Eugene Weber, who was our pole sitter in AM and at one point had 5 pro drivers sitting between he and Steve Daniel, took on 4 tires on the pit stop and dropped him back. You can see there he's not all that far back at the moment now, just a bit under 2 seconds to 2 seconds back. So he's made up a ton of ground, Larry. But we've only got 3 minutes left on the clock as we jump back to our battle for the lead with Hartley.
Yeah,
and Dan.
We're not going to go too far from that battle there of Cranston, Weber, and Daniel in the AM class, but this battle's too good. They are teammates, but trust me, the gloves are off. These guys are fighting all the way to the finish. Hartley right now with the advantage, 3/10. They'll come down here and cross the stripe with what probably is 2 laps to go. And I don't know. We've seen how difficult it is to pass, but not impossible. These guys have swapped positions twice. Mike Dam did it once early. Can he do it late and get the lead back?
Yeah, it's one of those questions about getting the driver crossed up, maybe getting them crossed up coming through here. Exactly.
Yeah, this is where it seems to start, because if the other guy gets a little bit loose in the middle of that 2, the next point where you touch the brakes is all the way down going into 5. This doesn't look like it's going to be it for Dam.
And make them run wide through the hairpin through Charlotte's Web. This is going to be it.
There.
And Hartley manages to hold on for the moment. He's going to tuck down to the inside and that's going to push Dam all the way out. But then they have it, and it cuts back over to driver's right as they come down through the corkscrew, and he's going to hold off Mike Dam again for the moment. You can see there as they take a very late exit there. They keep that car as straight as they can for as long as they can to carry the speed through, and now they roll back up through the S's. Only a few more corners to go. They've got this short-ish straight here. Then they're going to have the tunnel turn, this very quick left, then right, and then they rise back up the hill once again, down, and then it's a steady rise, almost 60 feet as they come through the final corners through 14 and 15, and then the final left-hander onto the front straight. But we've got one more lap to go, as we should see the white flag in the air, Larry, here with 1 minute left to go on the clock. There it is, white flag in the air. Robert Hartley is your leader, Mike Dam running in second, and they're coming up on some slower traffic. Let's see what happens.
That's going to give a little bit of tow, I think, but I think the driver's going to kind of yield, get himself out of the way, and he does. That should be the 78 of John Casey. Did a good job of not getting in the middle of this battle. Mike Dam would have loved this part of the track to be his chance. He's going to have to probably do it now coming out of this hairpin, which he's been very good at, or potentially coming out of the corkscrew. He's going to get a better run here than he had the last time, but Hartley's run wasn't bad either.
Yeah, and Hartley ran just a little wide there coming out of that complex, but as they come now down into the braking zone, go down into the corkscrew once again, and this should be. I don't want to.
It's going to take a hero move now. It's going to take a hero move going up into 13-14 to really give Mike a chance. He's going to have to just kind of be under the back of Robert Hartley when they go through that crossover there. As they make the next little kink down, he's just going to have to stuff his nose on the inside. Hartley may go to defend. We'll see what they do here.
All right, as they roll back up through the tower turn, they're going to drop down, and as quickly as they drop down, they'll start to rise up once again. Just 3 more corners, and it doesn't look like that slower traffic. We've got the number 95 just ahead of them. I don't think it's going to matter as they come through the final corner. 1 and 2. It is Robert Hartley. He's going to take the win here at Barber Motorsports Park. His teammate Mike Dam will finish in second place. And now we're going to have to wait because, my gosh, this is really opened up here. I think Caleb Lavender is going to take the final podium position in the pro category as we're watching this continuing battle that has not finished up yet. This is the battle for sixth position. We've got Tony Kernan, who's made up 10 positions since the start of this race. We've got David Payton, and look at this, Greg Mack, he's back in this as well. He hadn't been in this battle for about 20 laps, but as they come out of the final corner and onto the front straight, looks like Kernan's going to hold off Payton.
And here comes Weber.
All right, so let's take a look. This is the battle for the lead in the AM category. It's Steve Daniel, then it's Eugene Weber. Weber was your pole sitter in the category as they come through now the final corner. And again, Weber, he's got to question whether or not he should have taken all 4 tires as Steve Daniel crosses the stripe and takes the win in the AM category. Eugene Weber, he'll finish second. Jeffrey Cranston will come home in third. Matt Catilla, well, there he is from Matt in just a moment. He will finish in fourth, just off the podium. But great racing here, Larry. And as we saw, you know, this pit stop strategy in both categories, I think, really played out. I mean, it's certainly, as we've mentioned time and time again, it hurt Eugene Weber. It hurt John Allen. Just didn't put enough fuel in the car to get to the end. And let's take a look. John Allen, he's going to finish all the way back in 10th after having battled and spent most of the race battling for a podium position. But tell you what, why don't we take a quick break? We're going to thank some of our sponsors. We'll run down the finishing order here and then bring in some of our podium finishers for the interviews. You have just witnessed the finish of round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series, presented by Performance Texas Elite Graphics here at Barber, and we'll be right back.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
All right, and we're back here at Barber Motorsports Park. You've just seen round number 4 of the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performance Texas Elite Graphics. I'm Greg Ginsburg along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And before we get to the interviews, I'm assuming anybody comes and wants to talk to us, that is, Larry, let's run down how things played out here on track. And as we mentioned, the 2 Orion Racing teammates, Robert Hartley and Mike Dam, they finished first and second. Margin of victory for Robert Hartley, 24 hundredths of a second. Caleb Lavender in the 333 D2D E-Racing entry, he finishes a distant third. And I don't know what it was with Lavender. Both he and John Allen had dropped. They were only, about 5 seconds back at the end of the pit stops, and falls back almost 15 seconds from our top 2 finishers. Josh Soto gets around Clint Vigas to finish in 4th, Vigas 5th. Kernan works his way up to 6th. David Payton 7th. Greg Mack 8th. Jordy Fike 9th. And as we mentioned, John Allen comes home in 10th. And not to give short shrift to Jeff Jacobs or Brennan Horan, but let's take a look at the AM category, where Steve Daniel, who finished 13th overall in the SKKJ Racing entry, he takes the win. In AM, Eugene Weber, who was our pole sitter in the class, finishes only 0.4 of a second back, made up what, Larry, about 5.5 seconds in the last 6 minutes or so.
He just needed one more lap, I think, is about all he needed. But in the end, good strategy there for Daniel.
There you go. Jeff Cranston in the Craney Customs machine. He finishes in 3rd, just off the podium. Matt Catilla, and a great run for Matt, having had that incident early on with John Casey. He comes back to finish 4th. Nick Parsono will finish in 5th. Mike Taylor will finish in 6th. And so good finish there. And there you can see the rest of the field. It looks like I believe we had Thorman and also Robert Brist retire their entries. Well, it looks like actually Brist made it to the end, but Chris Thorman had that early off and hard impact with the wall. Was running 4th at the time, and he retired the car. Just too much damage to that MX-5 for him, unfortunately. All right, let's take a look here, Larry, and wouldn't you know it, still nobody wants to talk to you.
It's unfortunate because I really wanted to hear some of the stories. I want to hear a little bit about this great battle, specifically those teammates at the front. But I wouldn't mind talking to Steve Daniel and find out, what he was thinking as the race wound down. But they might just be thinking it's time to just go grab a little post-race beverage and sit back, and maybe they're all just listening to the start of the broadcast. They just wanted to hear us and not talk to us.
Exactly. All right. Well, tell you what then, Larry, why don't we start to wrap things up then here from Barber? Let's take a look at what we have coming up here in the near future. We've got some races coming up. I will mention that we are taking next Monday night off for Valentine's Day. So be with the one you love, even if you're an iRacer. Spend some time with your loved ones.
Or love the one you're with.
That is, I think there's a song about that. Just might not hear it on Spotify. But we won't be here next Monday night. Our next race is going to be 2 weeks from tonight. It's going to be Monday night, February 21st. The Ricmotech World Challenge will return for round number 3. Going to be at the Hungaro Ring. Those are our LMP2 and GT3 racers. And as you can see up there, it is going to be another 75-minute run to the checkered flag. Don't want to miss it. Then in 3 weeks, the Classic Sprint Series. We go back to our 2-race 30-minute race format with inverted starts for the second race. We're going to be at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, another track very well suited to the Mazda MX-5s. That's going to be, again, at 8 p.m. February 28th. And then, of course, as we've been mentioning, and there's still plenty of time for you to sign up for season number 2 of the Lamborghini Trophy Series, our fixed setup series, single mark series. First race of season number 2 is going to be May 9th, Monday night, May 9th at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. If you want to sign up, all you got to do is head to extrememotorsports99.com/road and head on over to the series. And I tell you what, Larry, you know what? I think we have, before we sign out, let's mix things up.
Do you want to bring them in together?
You know what? Why don't we do that? Let's bring in the 2 Orion Racing teammates, Mike Dam and Robert Hartley. Hartley taking the win tonight, Mike Dam finishing in 2nd. And I think bringing them in together would be great.
We got an opportunity here. I've got both the Orion drivers who put on one heck of a battle out in front tonight. Mike Dam was on the pole, but Hartley ends up taking the win. I'll start with Mike. Mike, heck of a race you guys just put on. You're able to make a tough pass early in the race to get that lead back, but as that thing came winding down, you seem to be running out of laps.
Yeah. I thought I ran a pretty solid race. Just kind of, picked my points and got, like you said, got the lead at some point early there, and just kind of me and Rob sort of left the train. We were able to make a decent gap. I think I just I didn't have enough tire at the end there. So
Well, we had noticed that we happen to have a camera on Rob. Rob, when you took your stop, you took those two outside tires there. I don't know, Mike, did you take any tires in your stop?
I did not take tires. So during our practicing, we were noticing that cold tires were really slippery here, and it would take a few laps to come up to temp. So I think my plan was to, get out of the pits flying, and try to see if I could gap Rob. But I think I almost did it, but not quite there, right?
And that's what it looked like. So, Rob, when you come out of the stop there and you had put those two left side tires on, your car looked a little squirrely. How many laps did it finally take before you got into that rhythm?
It took a good lap and a half. Mike was putting in the work right there.
I
think
kind
I
of
ran
looked
my
like it.
fastest lap of the race trying to run him down. So
Well, it didn't take too long, because then you guys just started this nose to tail, never more than about 3/10 apart the whole way. But you had to be thinking in your mind toward the end of having those left side tires, especially coming around that turn 14, that decreasing radius stuff, those left side tires probably helping you a little bit, huh?
yeah, I think I could tell it a little bit in the right hand corners because I took lefts. And I think I had a little bit of advantage. I think Mike was definitely the faster car tonight.
Yeah, but you guys were both just flying. Even from the start, as you guys were both side by side down into that first turn, Mike, it didn't look like you got off to a great start. And Rob, you were able to hold that outside line. Who wants to walk me through that?
Like we said, it's we knew the start was going to be sketchy on those cold tires. It's the rear's just going everywhere. So I think I caught a bit of the curb, but I didn't want to, lose it anywhere. That would have been even worse. So it was better to give up the position than to.
It would look bad for the pole sitter to wipe the field out.
Yeah, exactly.
I've done
right?
a few races here, so that I kind of knew that outside line worked in turn one there.
Have you run there in real life?
No, not in real life.
Okay, but
We've
just
done
here,
some
a lot
races here
on the
before.
sim for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what it looks like, because if you can hold that outside line, it gives you an opportunity to take the inside then all the way around too. You just made that work to perfection for you. And then, but a couple laps later, though, Rob, looks like Mike kind of came back at you. At that point, were you guys thinking just not to defend too hard, let's just stay in line and let this play out?
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to see if we could make a gap, and I think we did a good job with that. Yeah, for sure. We kind of just ran the rest of the race like that. I don't think either of us could lose each other, so we just kind of, ran some pretty good laps.
Yeah, and that you guys did, especially when Caleb and John each came in for their fuel stops. And we just started watching you guys just clicking off, low 37, high 36 is just
every lap.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Did you guys recognize that opportunity to pull away?
Yeah, it's hard to be perfect here for 60 minutes, but I think Mike and I did an excellent job.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. To perfection, and for Rob, I guess it's a little bit better than perfection to come out with the victory tonight. So congrats on that. I'll start with I'll go with Robert. Who do you want to thank for tonight's victory?
I'd like to thank Mike for the setup first off, but yeah, it's always good when you got good teammates that'll help you out with setups and never get a lot of practice, and they're always in here practicing, so that's always good.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, your Orion team, you guys seem to work really well together, and Mike's setup seemed to be the real secret here tonight. So congrats, guys. Great 1-2 finish, and cannot wait to see you guys in a couple weeks. And of course, we've got 2 weeks. We'll be out here for the World Challenge and then back at it in the Classic Sprints a week after that. So we'll see you guys then.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, there you go. Robert Hartley, driver of the number 3 Orion Racing Mazda MX-5, our winner tonight at Barber. Mike Dam, his teammate, driver of the number 93 car, finishing second this evening here at Barber. Congrats to both of them. So real quick, Dennis, why don't we throw up that splash screen one more time, and I won't spend a lot of time on it, but just a reminder to all of our racers and all of our spectators at home. Again, no racing next Monday night, but in 2 weeks we've got the Ricmotech World Challenge from the Hungaroring, and then the Classic Sprint Series returns to Mid-Ohio. And as we said, the Lamborghini Trophy Series. If you want to sign up for this, you still can. Head over to extrememotorsports99.com front/road. All right, so for Larry Lefty McLeod, for Dennis Grabowski, for Jonathan Grabowski and Dennis Branch, thank you everybody so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful Valentine's Day next Monday night, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.